I knew it would be a supportive environment, but I was blown away by exactly how free and comfortable these 8, 10, 11, 15-year-olds are running around with rainbow flags as capes.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there huddled with my jacket, almost embarrassed by by how introverted I was, how intimidated I was just to be out. And it's a real eye-opener when you realize that there's that kind of support out there, that there's that kind of even just community out there.
I think the conference is a unique environment for many of the kids, though. About half the kids who come on Friday are straight allies, and another half identify somewhere on the gender or sexual minority spectrum. But every kid that goes knows that they can just be themselves that day, and so they try on things and they wear things and they're able to just be fully expressed in a way that they're not able to in many parts of their lives. And so there's just a joyfulness that kind of comes from that. The fact that we've been doing this 17 years and have not had ever, please knock on wood, ever a significant incident, to have 2,500 kids and to have like nothing go wrong is really amazing. But it's because they create this community for that day, and they protect the community. That they're very protective and sure that they're going to make sure that nobody wrecks their ability to do this again.
And I remember part of the opening every year is reminding people that it is a community. And if you see somebody who's standing all by themselves or sitting by themselves or looks lost or lonely, walk up to them. Talk to them. And there were a few times people engaged me unexpectedly. And it really does make a huge difference. It really does.
That's one of the things I love about it. The conference started as a fieldwork project when I was getting my master's at UConn. And it was supposed to just be a one-day thing. But two things happened that made it become a continuing thing. One was that there were 12 adolescents who helped organize it the first year, and over the course, they were all like 16, 17 years old, and over the course of the day, every one of them came to me and said, we have to do this again next year. We have to keep doing this. And it was just a wonderful experience, and many of the kids started the morning like this. Like, who's here? Who's going to see me? What's going to happen? Right? And by the end of the day, they were like, and this one boy that I saw all day long, that he was just like this. He was like glowing, this kid. And he had like this riotous mass of curls and these little braces and these big eyes. And that night at the dance, which was actually one of the first dances for queer youth in the state. And so at the dance, I went up to him to really have a, sort of a conversation. And he told me that he had realized a lifelong dream. He was 15. And he said that he had danced with another boy, and nobody had laughed at him or made fun of him. And so I was really touched, and I said, well, that's wonderful, but sometimes when you have an experience like this, then you got to go home. Do you have any support at home? And it was like somebody let all the air out of his tires. The joy just leaked out of him. I just watched it, and he looked at me and he said, "Yeah, my dad already told me if I'm a faggot, he's going to get his shotgun and kill me." Oh my God. And I looked at him, and we both burst into tears, and we're just like on the dance floor crying. And when he walked away, I thought, okay, no. This again happened. Look at this is the most beautiful kid I think I'd ever seen in terms of just the way he was so lit up. And to let the world do something to drain that joyfulness out of him was just unacceptable. And so that was when we decided that, we're going to go forward with this. At the time, I was working for the phone company, and they didn't know they were a co-sponsor, but but they were a major co-sponsor and provided many in-kind contributions to the conference. And
well, that's okay.
Yeah. So for the first, 5 or 6 years, it was all volunteer, and we started doing Gay Straight Alliance summits because at the time there was only 4 Gay Straight Alliances. Now there's over 150, and then. We incorporated and got our 501c3, and now we just moved to the Love Makes a Family's old offices, and so we're like, we're up in the big leagues now. Yeah, and there's 5 employees and 4 interns and about 125 volunteers, so it's pretty exciting.
Of which are Renee's company?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you were going to say something before, and then I just kept talking.
Well, no, I was going to say that last year was the first year of going to the conference, and I worked it, as you know, and I was amazed on how many workshops there were. I mean, just the length of the day wasn't enough to fulfill my needs, but it was great, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, there's 140 workshops.
And 6 sessions?
Yeah. Well, we have to, you have to have enough workshops so that each workshop only has 30 or 40 people in it.
Sure.
Because, and we actually do a number of group workshops. One of the things we're doing for the first time this year is we're having a special opening for youth who are 16 and under. Our biggest challenge is getting them to actually go to it, but that 14 and 15-year-olds really do have different needs than 17 and 18-year-olds. And so, if we can get the 15 and 16-year-olds meeting each other, then they can go hang out with each other during the day, and then the 17 and 18-year-olds go hang out with each other during the day, and then no one will get, statutory rape or any of that stuff for pissing on somebody that they're not supposed to.
Yeah.
And we're very careful about making sure that the kids know that while everything is talkable, that this is sex, drug, and alcohol-free space.
Right.
Not that it is free, it's that we are free of it.
Right.
So.
And the conferences are, the workshops at the conference are broken up into different age groups, so that kids can talk to kids without feeling like adults are looking over their shoulder or intimidating them in any way. And I found that to be really sort of insightful. As kids, you're more likely to share with other kids if you don't have to worry about it getting back.
Right.
And that's a very neat thing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that makes us unique as an organizing agency is that we have youth and adults working as peers. And so there isn't a hierarchy of, the adults have all the say and the kids, that there really is a peer group of youth and adults working together to make decisions. And I think that matters. And that we also want to really respect that youth and adults are different. And so youth-only space is sacred. And so the rule at the conference is that youth can go anywhere, and adults have to stay out of youth-only space. And, so that's kind of fun. But.
That's neat. I guess I would have to ask, obviously you have a lot of young kids. Do you ever have any problems with kids being there basically against the wishes of their parents, things like that? I mean, if I was young, if this was around when I was a kid, I would have snuck off to go to it if I could have managed it.
Right. Well, we don't check IDs at the door. That's one thing. The vast majority of kids who come on Friday come as part of a field trip with their schools. Yeah. So there was 90 some odd schools that sent field trips last year. And so the schools get the permission slips, and different schools do it differently, but generally speaking, the schools are clear that they're going to a Teen Life conference or that it's the True Colors conference. Years ago, people used to use, some of the schools used euphemisms for it. Rather than, we used to be called Children from the Shadows. Instead of calling it that, they would say, it's a Teen Life or a diversity conference, so that kids didn't necessarily get outed to their parents. The second year of the conference, this kid called me every day for like a week. And every day he called, I recognized his voice, but he told me he was from a different town. And so he was asking me all these questions. And I never knew what was gonna happen, but the day of the conference, I was standing looking, we had a wall that said, "What do you think?" And just all these pens hanging off of it so people could write on the wall. And he walked up next to me and he said something to me and I recognized his voice. And so I turned and I looked at him and